See, now it's pressure.
There you go.
Yeah. This guy's already paying up on the commission, this guy right here.
Yeah.
Although I did not make my list with mileage markers. Yeah, that makes it hard for me.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of Madera County Transportation Commission Policy Board, January 22nd, 2025 at 3 o'clock. Sandy, could you do roll call, please?
Commissioner Poitras?
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed?
Here.
Commissioner Gallegos?
Here.
Commissioner McCauley?
Here.
Commissioner Rogers is absent, as well as Commissioner Rodriguez.
Thank you for that. If everybody would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for that. Next.
Need to recognize.
Oh, we have Commissioner Rodriguez who is joining us via Zoom.
Yes, thank you, Chair Gallegos. I am joining via Zoom under the Just Cause provision. I am attending business here at the California League of Cities.
And are you alone or with anybody under the age of 18?
I am alone and I have no one here in my room.
Perfect. Thank you so much. With that, we will be moving on to election of officers, 3A. Director Taylor, do you have that?
Normally we have pulled this at the end of the meeting. We thought it'd be best to have it at the beginning of the meeting so that we can go ahead and pass the gavel on. So today we will be nominating the chair and a vice chair. The past practices has been that the vice chair is normally nominated as chair, but it's up to the members of the commission. And then we alternate between city, county. And so the next, if you were following past practices, would be a county representative. So with that, Madam Chair, we would recommend an appointment for a chair.
All right. So I have an appointment for the chair.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a nomination for Vice Chair Gallegos to become the chair of the MCTC.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Madam Chair, we have to have
Oh,
a
roll call. That's
vote.
right. Thank you. Roll call.
Commissioner Poitras?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers is absent. Commissioner Ahmed?
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley?
Yes.
Chair Gallegos?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Perfect. Thank you. And so now we're looking for a nomination or a motion for vice chair. And that someone in the county.
Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Commissioner Poitras as the vice chair.
Okay. I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Oh, roll call.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley?
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed?
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras?
Yes.
Commissioner Chair Gallegos?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay. Well, congratulations to the chair and vice chair that we have now official officers. And I thank my colleagues for those nominations and agreements. Good. All right. Moving on to public comment. At this time, it is made available for comments from the public on matters within the board's jurisdictions that are not on the agenda. Each speaker will have a limited of 3 minutes. Attention is called to the fact that the board is prohibited by law from taking any substantial actions on matters discussed that are not on the agenda, and no adverse position should be shown if the board does not respond to the public comment at this time. It is requested that no comments be made during this period on an item that are not on today's agendas. Members of the public may comment on any of these items that is not on today's agenda when the item is called and should be notified the chairperson of the desire to address the board when the agenda item is called. And we do have Commissioner Rogers who just entered. Thank you for joining us today. With that, I open up to public comment. Anybody in the audience? I see none. Do we have anybody online?
None online.
Or on Zoom? Okay, with that, I close public comment. Moving on, MCTC sitting as a transportation policy Committee and the 5 transportation consent item. Do my colleagues have any items that they would like to pull or have concerns? If not, have a motion
Second.
and a second. Roll call?
Commissioner Rogers?
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed?
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley?
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras?
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez?
Yes.
Chair Gallegos?
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you for that. I would like to open it up for public comment. I see none online or on Zoom.
Online.
Perfect. With that, I close public comment and we move on to item C, 6, transportation actions and discussion items, 6A.
This is a state legislative update on the governor's budget for 2025-2026 state budget. Corey Consulting prepared the memorandum that is included in your package. It provides an update on the 25-26 budget and highlights some transportation items, cap and trade and impacts on transportation. Having said that, Gus Corey is with us to provide additional information as he sees fit as we move forward into the spring and development of our platform. So Gus.
Thank you, Director Taylor. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members. Gus Corey, President Corey Consulting. I'm with my colleague Mitch Weiss, also who actually prepared the memo that's in the packet. Very brief report. I guess the long and short of it is no news is good news. We've had a budget deficits the last couple of years, and Governor Newsom on January 10th published his fiscal year 25-26 state budget, and he cited a $4.5 billion surplus, so a modest surplus compared to the yawning budget deficits that we've had over the last couple of years. It's slightly different from what the LEO had forecasted, which was a $2 billion deficit back in November, but capital gains receipts picked up steam. The collection of personal income tax and corporate taxes as well were above what was projected, and the legislature took corrective action in June in solving about $30 billion of projected budget deficit then. So there's really no impact on transportation. We aren't recipients of the general fund anymore, with exceptions such as the SB 125 funds, those for public transportation, which we've already doled out. Don't expect any clawbacks, but that is a multi-year program. We'll keep looking just to make sure for prospective years that the state doesn't try to claw that back to fill up any kind of holes. The major themes for this year in 2025, the cap and trade program has to be extended. That's the program that funds several of the programs for passenger rail and transit services, such as the Transit and Intercity Rail Capital Program, the Low Carbon Transit Operations Program that our transit operators rely upon. And so, the news coming out of Washington, especially under the new presidential administration, that could compromise receiving any federal funding. That's maybe going to factor into the equation here on what happens with high-speed rail and whether or not even more cap and trade resources will be dedicated for that purpose. I know that we have a lot at stake, given the investments that have been made, not just in the county, but the whole San Joaquin Valley region. So that's something for us to keep an eye on. The gas tax, there's lots of conversations on a successor source. There could be an informational hearing. I know CalCog plans to talk about this at their policy summit in March as well. So we're waiting to see what happens with that endeavor. And then just the continual conversation with state agencies such as the Air Resources Board, among others. It's not just extending the cap and trade program, but the administration's looking to make a VMT a more prominent metric in the evaluation of projects that are before a state agency's consideration, such as the California Transportation Commission, and that could impact our ability to access funding, given that we still have substantial needs on the state highway system, and we're doing all that we can from a multimodal perspective. But there's that and the constant rebenching, if you will. We're moving the goalpost on greenhouse gas emission targets as well, where we want to make sure that we're getting credit for investments that we have been making in our partnership with the state. So these are all things to keep track of. And then, the jobs housing imbalance, that's a perennial conversation as well. We saw legislation last year that was aggressive in trying to get local jurisdictions to assume the entire population when you're doing your RENA calculations and delivery of affordable housing, which, is not necessarily feasible. And there was a penalty affiliated with that, but we were able to defeat that bill. It was AB 1335 from last year. I expect that conversation to still manifest at some point this session. And so we're working with your staff in order to put together a draft 2025 platform now that the budget's out. We hope to bring something to the board next month on February 19th, I believe is your next meeting. And then we'll be making our rounds in Sacramento and then separately with the San Joaquin Valley Regional Policy Council, which, they're going to go up on March 12th to talk to the Valley delegation and other partners, state partners, to try to forward our goals. So I'll stop right there, Madam Chair, and I'm happy to answer any questions or comments. And again, I've got, Mitch on the line too, if there's questions on the budget, since he was tracking that for me last week.
Mr. Corey, for that report, I bring it back to my colleagues for any questions.
I have a question.
Mr. Poitras?
I thank you, Gus, for that report. Yesterday, I'll just call them the climate crowd, came out with a letter calling for the state of California to double down on the stopping future highway expansion. In fact, it's right here in black and white, that urges traffic instead of scaling up investment in public transit, active transportation, and affordable infill housing, and affordable options for people to avoid driving. And it's in accelerate efforts and so forth. Is this something that do you see taking traction in Sacramento and the legislature and administration? And if so, what do we do to counter that type of effort?
Yeah, Supervisor, that's a great question. And so the CalSTA is currently in the process of revising the Governor's Climate Action Plan for Transportation Infrastructure, also known by the acronym of CAPTI. And what they're attempting to do is codify CAPTI and put a real emphasis on VMT reduction, for example. So that would even get away from, providing more funding for highways. But, it's an ongoing conversation, I'll say, with all interest groups as far as what we do to improve mobility. And I do see this factoring into several different areas, whether it's cap and trade, whether it's a gas tax successor source, all these things. And so we have to be vocal, I think, not just as a county, but as a region, in articulating why, given our unique circumstance, our population, the disadvantaged communities that rely on the automobile, the fact that we're a major agricultural producing epicenter, for the country and the world in a lot of respects, that there needs to be more pragmatic solutions about what we can and can't do to move the needle. So yes, this is it's been a prominent theme. We've seen Senate Bill 1 programs that have attempted to be poached so that you can't invest on the state highway system. We defeated a bill like that last year. So it's definitely top of mind.
Well, good. Well, I'm glad that, you work with us as well as the policy council. So, it's something that we can double down on in terms of our efforts to move the needle on that.
Yeah, and just one note, and I don't know, Director Taylor, one thing that came up, I guess, during a breakout session at the self-help counties, and maybe Mitch can even speak to this, is that there was an analysis done on even all the transit investments that are made. They don't necessarily move the needle on greenhouse gas emission reduction, is what the speaker was suggesting. And so that's an opinion, but it is out there that it's not necessarily that if you invest into transit that you're necessarily going to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. There's still induced demand as a result. And so it gets pretty complicated without really looking at what the travel patterns are and what the needs of the constituency is. And just where we fall into facilitating not just Madeirans moving, but it's really everybody in the state that uses our backyard as an arterial.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners have any questions? Mr. Curry, do you have any more for your report? Are you good?
I'm good, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. With that, I open it up for public comment. I see none. Any on Zoom or online? Okay, with that, I close public comment. This was an informational discussion, so thank you so much for your report.
Thank you.
Moving on, MCTC sitting as the Madera County Transportation Commission Policy Committee. Going to administrative consent items. Is there anything?
We'll need to go to item 7, just to reaffirm all
Oh,
actions
okay,
taken.
thank you.
Yes.
Reaffirm.
So move.
Thank
I'll
you.
sec-
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Chair Gallegos.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. With that, I open it up to public comment. I see none online or on Zoom. Thank you. I close public comment and we move on to administrative actions 9A.
We'll go to item 8 for administrative consent items.
Madam Chair, I'll approve the administrative consent items.
Oh, oops, I went too far. Thank you for that.
I'm sorry, who is the second?
Commissioner Rodriguez made the motion to approve the administrative consent items, item 8.
Rogers was second.
Thank you.
Roll call?
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers.
Yeah.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras.
Yes.
Chair Gallegos.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Okay, now we're moving on. Thank you so much.
And so this item is to appoint 2 ad hoc committee members for the director contract renewal. So the executive director contract is a 3-year contract. It's up for renewal and it expires on June 30th. And given that it would be either an amended contract or a new contract, we would need to form an ad hoc committee to discuss negotiations moving forward. So this item is before you to appoint 2 members.
Move to appoint Rob Poitras and Commissioner Rodriguez.
Second that.
Thank you for that. I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras.
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Gallegos.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you. And with that, I open it up to public comment. I see none online or on Zoom.
Online.
Thank you. I closed public comment. Moving on to 9B.
Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and Commissioners. This item is to accept the fiscal year 23-24 financial audit report of the Madera County Transportation Commission. The audit report includes our regular planning funds as well as the trust funds the MCTC administers. The audit was completed by Price, Page and Company. They issued unmodified opinions on the financial statements and the independent auditor's report for compliance of major programs. No findings were noted. The net position of the commission is strong as the financial statements indicate that assets exceed liabilities by $759,596 as of June 30th, 2024. Staff recommends acceptance of the audit report. Kristen Torres, audit manager for Price Page and Company, is online. She or I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for that report. I will bring it back to my colleagues for any questions.
Move to approve the audit report.
Thank you. I have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Gallegos.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Perfect. I open it up for public comment at this time. I see none online or on Zoom.
No.
Thank you for that. I will close public comment and thank you for that very brief and efficient report. Moving on to MCTC sitting as the Madera County 2006 Transportation Authority, 10 Authority Administrative Consent Item. Looking for a motion
For approval?
and a second.
Second that.
Roll call.
Commissioner Poitras,
Yes.
Commissioner Ahmed,
Yes.
Commissioner McCauley,
Yes.
Commissioner Rodriguez,
Yes.
Commissioner Rogers,
Yes.
Chair Gallegos.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries.
All right.
Madam Chair, I'm going to
Okay. Thank
Thank
you
you.
so much for being here with us.
see you all.
At this time, I'd like to open up for public comment. I don't see any online or on Zoom. I will close public comment and I would like to turn it over to our administrative assistant for 10B.
So we would like to recognize Mr. Max Rodriguez, who has been a member of our Citizens Oversight Committee, and his service is complete. And we just wanted to let us know how much we appreciate him and honor him with a certificate of appreciation.
He's out of
He is
declined
to be.
He declined to speak.
Okay, he's declined.
So we would just like to say thank you to Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. Oh, no, not that one.
Do my colleagues have any comments? All right, we would like to thank you for your time and service to this Transportation Commission and honor all the time that you've given up to volunteer to have your voice spoken for this community. Moving on to 11, Authority Actions Discussion, Item 11A.
So Madam Chair, that was 11A.
Oh,
And then,
sorry, I said 10B.
11B
Okay.
was for
I'm just
consent.
like not moving very well today. Okay, thank you. There it is. 11B.
So 11B, that's me. Included in your package is a comparison of the election results from the Measure T renewal. It compares past measure 2022, 2024, whatever dates that we had our past measures in. And that's just for your information. Enjoy reading and comparing and looking at the comparisons. Moving forward, we just wanted to kind of outline the next steps. We haven't forgotten about Measure T and the Measure T renewal. What we will be doing at the staff level is reviewing what the voters have passed with the expenditure plan approved by the voters, along with the Public Utilities Code 180,000, that's the enabling legislation that Measure T falls under. And we will be working closely with our council to develop implementing guidelines. And included in those implementing guidelines, we will address all that is required through the Public Utilities Code and address anything that was required in what the public approved by the vote. Also included may be rules of the proceedings once we begin in 2027 and an administrative code. So we're just at the beginning of the drafting of these or having the discussion. We're not sure whether or not we will be retaining a counsel to assist in development of those or a consulting firm, but we have had the discussion at the staff level moving forward that we will need potentially some professional legal opinion and legal advice moving forward. So that is just for you. This is information only for discussion. If you have any direction you'd like to provide, we're open to hearing your direction as well, but we're just at the beginning stages.
Okay, thank you for that. I'd bring it back to my colleagues for any comments.
Madam Chair, just one comment. I would say, well, two comments, I suppose. One is I would love to see staff looking at other transportation commissions, what they're doing as far as developing guidelines and those sorts of things. Obviously, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. But one thing I know from my district, and I've heard a lot throughout the county, is that they would like to see our oversight committee a little bit more involved in not just the review, but how things are brought forward to this commission. So that would be something I would definitely encourage staff to look at and would love to see possibly reviewed by the commission.
And in what was passed by the voters in the expenditure plan, there was information detailing the Citizens Oversight Committee. So there will be some differences from the current Citizens Oversight Committee and the future Oversight Committee. Yeah, we'll address that and we'll be working with you.
All right, thank you for your comment. With that, I open it up to public comment. I see none. Online or on Zoom, no. I will close public comment. That was informational. Moving on to miscellaneous 12A items from staff. Do we have any?
Not at this time. Do you have any items? The only thing that I would reiterate is what Gus had mentioned in terms of developing our platform, our legislative platform moving forward. We will be working with him in the near future on that and hope to plan a day in Sacramento at the end of February, beginning of March timeframe is what we're hoping for. But it's all dependent upon the legislative calendar.
All right, thank you for that. 12B Caltrans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good afternoon, all. I feel like I've been gone for a few months, so it's nice to be back, and I'll make up for lost time and just take my time and milk this report since we're turning so quickly today. But a couple updates. As you heard last month, Director Gomez retired, so her last day was December 26th. So the interim appointed director is Harpreet Binning. He's our deputy from construction, so he'll be the interim director until they permanently appoint someone, probably in the next month or so. Before she left, she did create a new team member to our executive team, so we do have an external affairs deputy now. His name is Jeff Wiley, so I do plan to bring him to a future meeting to introduce himself. The Caltrans planning grants, so the deadline for those grants is actually close of business today, so I'm hoping I get to see some applications coming from this region. We've done very well the last few cycles, so looking forward to that. The State Route 99 Comprehensive Multimodal Corridor Plan, so we're still trending to finish that project or that report by June 30th. We expect to have a draft in April for review, hopefully in time for maybe the policy conference. Also looking to probably present at that event. But we're doing our second round of public engagement. So if you recall, we did the first round virtually back in June of last year. So February 11th and February 12th, flyers are already going out. We're doing combining Fresno and Madera together, and then we're doing the South Afton Valley, I believe, the week or so after. So we'll continue to send those flyers out. Please feel free to share so we can get some good feedback on that project. The South Madera 6-lane project, so that project is being combined with the shop rehab project. So we're currently still in design. We should have that design wrapped up this fall. Right now we're working through some right-of-way challenge with some of the property owners. And so hopefully get those resolved, design complete in fall, and get started advertising for that stretch between Avenue 7 and Avenue 12 on State Route 99. To the north, from Avenue 17 to Avenue 22 on State Route 99, we did kick off environmental in July. We submitted mapping to the team back in December. So we're looking at probably about 2 years time frame to complete that environmental document. So with all the conversations we had about VMT previously, it'd probably be good to start having some of those conversations as well for that project as we go through the environmental document about potential transit opportunities in Madera County that we could maybe tap into to combine with that project. The downtown Madera rehab project, so that's the one through downtown with the Main Street improvements that we're doing. Those project plans have been completed and are being reviewed by the district office engineer, as well as by the Union Pacific Railroad. We're looking to get utility certified by May, so we should be advertising that project in June for construction. The State Route 99 233 interchange improvements, that project is going through design process currently. We're working on right-of-way requirements. We just had our 60% constructability review of the plans, or expected in April to have the 60% review, and that project should be ready to list next summer. On State Route 99, the Cottonwood Creek Bridge replacement, still in construction, targeting to have the northbound off-ramp open next month, and should have completion of construction by late spring, early summer. Madera South Expressway project, still coordinating with the county on that project. The consultant is addressing the 95% constructability reviews. One thing we've been working with the county based on the town hall that Supervisor Walmoff had was some interim improvements at the intersection of 41 and Avenue 12. We're looking to basically accommodate the eastbound traffic on Avenue 12 to State Route 41 by providing a free right turn. That'll also allow, we're going to mitigate that by adding some green time to the signal for the southbound traffic coming down the hill. So that should help clear up that queue as well. Yeah, extra 10 seconds or so signal timing, which help because we are alleviating one of the lanes at the intersection. So it should offset that. So we're looking to go out there and do that. It should only take about a day, and we'll be doing that by the end of this month. Rancho's Rehab, this is the section of State Route 41 between Avenue 15 and 145. Just doing punch list items now. PG&E's doing energizing some equipment, tying up some loose ends, so we should have that project buttoned up by April. And that completes my report. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm fully expecting Supervisor McCauley to step in and fill Supervisor Wheeler's shoes with some pothole comments, maybe?
No,
Okay.
comments.
All right, let's hope it.
Fully
Thank
prepared.
you for that
Madam
report,
Chair.
Mr. Navarro.
Just a quick note, he mentioned the workshops coming up for CMCP. It's in the agenda and the consent calendar, and the flyers are in your too. So,
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you for that. I'll bring it back to my colleagues. Any questions?
I have a question for Michael. Do you, Mike, do you see any, so let's say the multimodal report is delayed. Does that delay anything on SR 99?
So that's your question. So it won't be delayed. We're gonna get, the contract expired June 30th. We're gonna get it done by June 30th. So it won't be delayed. As you remember early on, we were hoping to have things, I think construction was scheduled for hopefully fall of this year. So there was about a few month cushion that made me a little nervous, honestly, but because of the right of way constraints we're dealing with, it's been pushed out a little bit, as you saw in my report. So I have no fear of the 99 quarter plan holding up anything with the allocation of funds for that project.
But the actual construction is going to be delayed.
It's been pushed out a little bit, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, instead of, I think initially we were optimistically thinking we can go get our construction allocation in fall. Now we'll be wrapping up design probably in fall, which pushes everything back.
Is there anything else that's going to delay it? Like, are we going to be sitting here in 6 months and, oh, it's delayed again for blah, blah, blah?
Nothing I could foresee. Like I said, we're going through the hearings, having the right of way conversations, and that should be, once we start right of way, then I don't see what else would tie that up. But never say never, I guess. But I think everything within our control, I think we can address at that point.
Well, thank God we're getting that multimodal plan done. You know, that's going to change us all. Anyway, that's all the comments I have.
Thank you. Any other?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just wanted to confirm one of your statements there, Mike, regarding the design plan is completed. When, did I hear you correctly? Was there a date of initial construction for the downtown project?
Downtown, go back, sorry.
The State Route 145, downtown Madera.
Yeah, so we'll be ready to advertise that project in this June, which means starting construction probably end of this year.
End of this year. Okay. And completion of the project?
I don't have the working days on that yet, but I can follow up with you.
Okay. Thank you. That's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Moving on to items for Commissioner Poitras.
Yeah, I just have a comment in regards to a organization I'm involved in called RCRC. It's a rural counties organization. And I was part of a ad hoc subcommittee talking about transportation. A fellow that works for RCRC named Sid Nag, he led the charge, and there were probably 6 or 7 supervisors on that. And it was really good. We had an opportunity to talk to the California Truckers Association. We had a chance to talk to Lori Wilson, who's the chair of the Assembly Transportation Committee, talking to several other parties. We actually, within the last 6 months, had Tokes Homoshakan at our RCRC meeting as well. And the result of all that was new policy or updated policy or amended policy that is that recognizes all of the issues that we're facing and all of the pushback and all of the danger that, you know, our rural counties are facing because of these policies in terms of trucking and things of that sort. And it looks like there's been some recent activity that has pulled back some of those requirements in terms of going electric on trucks, but but it's still an issue, a problem, and it's just want to let you know that RCRC has it's a 37 member organization and has surfaced these issues and is going to make this more of a front burner issue than a back burner issue. So just wanted to share those things.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Poitras. Commissioner Ahmed. Thank you, Commissioner McCauley.
I'll just say I'm excited to be here, part of the MCTC board mission. I'm also on the Air District and the YARCs, which I think both tie in very closely to this organization, some of the things Commissioner Poitras was just talking about as well. So excited to kind of close the loop on some of those issues and do whatever we can to advocate for Madera County. So happy to be here.
Thank you. Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yes, Madam Chair, I just wanted to congratulate both you and Commissioner Poitras on your appointments. Other than that, thank you again. I hope you guys have a great day.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. I just have one thing I would like Mr. Navarro to take back to Caltrans, that we please have MCT has in their prayers and safe travels. I know we have a lot of our Caltrans back in LA because of the fires. We also have our prayers are for our local firefighters that are from Madera County. Our chief from the city is also down there, is the main command for the LA fires. So on behalf of this board, our prayers are with the families and our staff that are back there in LA, taking those issues into account and protecting those that are in need. And with that, we have no closed session. I would like to adjourn this meeting and we'll see everybody in February. Thank you.